Welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and today I'm going to show you how to make a stress-free design that we think you're going to love. Let's head down to the crafting table. Let's get busy. Here is our design for today. Now look at this. It is so easy to create. You'll want to keep this template in your craft box. The first thing you need to do is grab you a base card. Now your base card is 8.5 by 5.5 and we're scoring it at 4 1/4. But we need to turn it landscape, and now you need to decide what is the center of this front panel. And we know that the center is going to be 2 3/4. So we're just going to take a ruler and we are going to measure 2 3/4, and we're going to put a little tick mark. So grab your pencil. 2 3/4 is right here. So I'm just adding a little tick mark right there. And now what we need to do is cut some diagonal lines. So we're going to bring in our trimmer. And we are going to cut from this point all the way to the edge, the bottom left corner, and from the middle point again to the bottom right corner. Now, however you want to do that, you could always draw your line and cut it with scissors. That's exactly the same thing, and it will be just as easy. But I'm going to go ahead and I am just going to put my point right here, and then I'm going to line it up. Now, we're going to keep that point in the canal, and we're going to rotate until I see that tick mark. Just make sure that that bottom point right there is in the canal, and then rotate to this. Go ahead and grab your cutting blade and just slice. And we sliced all the way. Now we're going to turn it, put this bottom corner in your canal, shut your guide, and we're going to rotate until we see that tick mark right in that hole, making sure that your corner is in the canal. So we have it just like that, and we're going to bring it up, and we're just going to slice. Now, you may still have a little bitty part right there. Just grab your scissors and snip it. Look how simple that was. This is an exciting card design to make. Now, how you put this together is we have this cut out. You're going to flip this and it fits right underneath, just like this. Look at that. Doesn't get any easier, does it? But now what we want to do is we want to create our mats that go on top of this. And so we're cutting a smaller mat. And this mat is 5 by 3 3/4. That way, when we cut it, it's going to mat this perfectly, leaving a border. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, once again, we need to decide on the center. And because we have this at 5, our center on the mat is going to be 2 1/2. So let's go ahead and grab our ruler. You can use your trimmer if you want. And I'm just going to put a little tick mark right at 2 1/2, right there. Now, this is very easy to cut. You can place your tick mark right in the canal and just rotate the bottom corner till it is in the canal. And we're going to slice. Do the same thing. Put your tick mark in the canal, rotate it until this bottom right-hand corner is in the canal also. Once again, you are free to use your scissors by just drawing that line and cutting it. Now we're going to move our trimmer out of the way. This is how it's going to go. However, remember on this one, we actually flip it. It's going to be flipped just like this. And look how that matches perfectly. So I would go ahead and just lay that just like that. Keep these the way that they're going to lay on your card. Bring in a piece of paper and let's create our background. You could use a piece of DSP if you want. Instead of cutting a white piece of paper, cut a DSP or patterned paper, and you could do that. But I say, you might not have the patterned paper you want. You might have a stamp that's your favorite. Let's use that to create our background. Now I'm just going to bring in a piece of paper, and I am bringing in some flowers that I like from Delightful Wishes. I'm also bringing in a sentiment from Lovely Florals, and then the right words also for Happy Birthday. So we very often use several stamp sets to get the design that we want. But you use what you have in your stash, right? So let's go ahead and get this designed. Now the colors I decided to use are Berry Burst. It's kind of a fuchsia, kind of like my sweater. And then Granny Apple Green for the leaves. And I'm also going to use our Night of Navy for the definition of this flower. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and put our base down of our flower. So this is a two-step process. I'm going to stamp the background first. So let's go ahead and just stamp this. So we have one here. I'm going to put one here and just one down here. Now, you could do this before you cut out your triangle, but if you do, you're going to get something over here, and you may or may not want that to show because it'll show on the inside of the card. So that's why we cut ours apart first. Let's go ahead and stamp this side. Okay, and now we're going to bring in the definition. I'm going to use my Night of Navy. We're just going to line up all these and stamp them. So pretty. And now we need to stamp our leaves. So let's bring in our Granny Apple or our really lime green if you have that. It goes so pretty with this fuchsia. And we're just going to stamp some leaves around. And now we have our two side panels for our card. Do you see how easy this design is? We're going to bring in our triangle that was cut just like that. But remember, we need to flip it. Okay? It needs to be flipped. So what we want to do is see exactly how much room we have to stamp our sentiment. So let's bring in our card. We are going to put this right on the bottom of that score line because we want it to be able to shut really nicely. So just line it up. We haven't glued down our mat yet. And this way we can tell exactly how much room we have. And I'm just going to draw some lines right here. We can erase those lines. You don't have to do that. You can eye it, no problem. But I want to make sure I get it exactly where I need it. Now I'm bringing in that lovely day, and I'm going to use my Night of Navy. So tap, tap, tap. I'm just going to stamp it right here. Perfect. And now we can see that we can stamp a little flower right here if we want, maybe some leaves. So let's go ahead and stamp just one little flower right in this corner with a leaf. I think that would be pretty. So we're going to do our background first. We're going to bring in our definition using our Night of Navy. And maybe just a little leaf peeking out. Look at that. Now we just need to erase those lines. We love this mono eraser. It doesn't gum up. It just erases perfectly. And now let's put it together. We have our card. We're going to lay down our 2 mats. And because I want to wiggle wiggle, I'm going to use my Kalel, which I'm almost empty. I need to buy some more, but I can't find my normal store to buy it from. So I'm on the hunt for some Kalel. Normally I buy the Kalel on Etsy, but I'm not finding my clear. It typically costs around $9. If you find it, let me know. We're just making sure that we have the same margins all the way around. And because this glue lets you wiggle wiggle, you have no problem. Do you see how easy this is? Stress-free, so much fun. You can use pattern paper for this if you don't want to spend the time, but we like creating our backgrounds sometimes. So I'm just going to bring in my triangle. I'm going to lay those 2 down together just like that. Now, what I want to see is, do I want it to be all the way at the top? Let's look at that. Or do I want to bring it down a little and we have a border at the top as well? Let's do that and see. Really, it's just your preference. I like having it all the way up at the top, and that way I only see the white. So we're going to lay it down just like that, right at the top edge. But once again, you don't have to do that, and it will leave a smaller margin right here, and that's fine. Now, the next thing, you're going to lay it not right up against it, but just a little bit below that score line, just on the bottom edge of the score line, and that way it allows your card to close much better. So you need to lay it flat on your card, and now look at where you need the glue. You just need glue right here. So go ahead and just put a little bit of glue right there. Close this flap and hold it. And do the same thing here. You just need a little bit of glue right there. Just in this corner triangle. And we're just going to hold it for just a second because this glue lets you wiggle wiggle. You need to wait for it to dry. You could also use your green glue and it would grab it a little bit faster and dry much faster. Look at that. Oh, look at how pretty that is. Just gorgeous. Now we need to have a mat on the inside. You don't have to because this is lime green, but I want to go ahead and put the white mat right here. It just makes everything pop a little better, doesn't it? Now, I also want to stamp happy birthday, so I'm going to grab my Night of Navy and tap, tap, tap. And I don't want it to show, so I'm going to put it right at the top. Now, when you're working with rubber stamps, that's really important that you don't rock it. If you rock it, you'll get a halo around your impression. So straight down, straight up. It's a little bit harder to see with rubber stamps, but you can do it. Now we're going to add this to the inside of our card and we are through. You might want to add a few embellishments. You can certainly do that. I'm fine with how pretty it looks with that handmade background. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? Now, we could also stamp another little flower there if we wanted to. You can do that, no problem. I'm going to leave it just like this. Now, make sure you stay with us after we create our next card because I have 2 other variations or options to show you that we think you'll like. But this is a super quick card to make, stress-free. It's an all-occasion card. Let's go ahead and create our next card. we have our 2 cards created. Look how pretty they are. Just love this design. Now, something else you could do, you could put some flowers here if you wanted to decorate that, not to worry. So let's look at some other options. I showed this one. Look how pretty that is. I appreciate you so very much. Let's go ahead and stamp so very much on this one right here. I think that really adds to it. It makes it a little extra special. So now that inside is completed. Look at that. So pretty. And finally, we brought in that beautiful fuchsia color with a different stamp set. Take a moment and let us know which design you like the best. Which color is your favorite? And what do you think about this design? Well, we hope that you were inspired by this very quick, stress-free card design and that you add this template to your card making tool. We sure would appreciate you taking a moment just to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already and help us grow. Maudie and I hope you go out and have a fantastic day. And until next time, we wish you lots of creative moments. Bye-bye.